Hi everyone, this is Radio Poland. I'm Michał Owczarek, and there goes my guest, straight from the UK, but far more than this, straight from British Parliament, straight from the House of Commons, Daniel Kawczyński. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. It's really a great pleasure to have you here today. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be an encounter with a great Pole. Do you mind if we stand up and line up for a sort of family shot for everyone to see how great a Pole you are? Can we have the camera on us, the spotlight, please? Yeah. I'm meeting a great Pole, Daniel Kawczyński.
Yes.
Hello again.
Hi. Well, you know...
So, how tall are you actually, Daniel?
Well, I think I'm in the Guinness Book of Records as
really?
as the tallest ever member of Parliament.
Only on the British Isles, or
Well, I think in the
worldwide?
probably worldwide. I'm 2 meters and 6 centimeters, which is officially a giant. I think anything above 2 meters 5 centimeters is a giant. Yes.
Well, so congratulations on that. Then, you are said to be the first and maybe the only British MP of Polish descent. Is that true?
Yes, but you know, we left Poland in 1978. I didn't leave Poland. I was a child. My parents decided they didn't want to live under communism. My family were fiercely anti-communist, and we left in 1978. And of course, we weren't allowed to return because of stan wojenne, which was obviously very heartbreaking for us. I was at school in England, and to watch what was happening in Poland in 1980, 1981, 1982 was heartbreaking, particularly knowing that our relatives, my beloved grandfather and our relatives were still here in Poland. So those were very, very difficult times. And I remember at school how we all collected. It was an amazing experience for me. Everybody collected food parcels, coffee and things like that to send in trucks to Poland because, of course, during Stan Wojenny, there was such a crisis in Poland that we wanted to help Poles at that time.
Did you always want to be a Pole? I mean, your surname, Kawczyński, is definitely Polish, yes? And it may have been an obstacle in a public career. So have you ever envisaged changing the name or doing something about it?
Well, no. Somebody came up to me when they wanted me to stand for Parliament. They said, well, you have to change your name. You're never going to be elected with a completely unpronounceable name. And there are many British parliamentarians who have European origins, French or Romanian and other countries, and they've changed their names. So they said, you have to change your name. And I said, well, in that case, I won't stand for Parliament. I'm very proud of my Polish roots. My grandfather, who was a great Polish patriot, taught me an insatiable love for Poland. And I refuse to change my name. And I think it's testimony to the British people. I've been now re-elected 3 times. I've been a member of Parliament for nearly 12 years. And I'm very proud that the United Kingdom, you know, the people feel, you know, perfectly relaxed about voting for somebody who wasn't born in their country and has a difficult name to pronounce. But, you know, now children in my constituency, even in kindergarten, they say good morning, Mr. Kawczyński, and they've learned how to say it. So I'm very proud of my Polish roots. You can take, my favorite expression is, you can take the boy out of Poland, but you can't take Poland out of the boy.
And how is your Polish then?
Well,
have you come here to polish your Polish?
Well, I do. And of course, unfortunately, when my parents divorced, my mother married an Englishman and we only spoke in English at home. But now I have a Polish teacher. She is coming to the House of Commons once a week. And I am learning Polish again. And more importantly, I'm making sure that my 10-year-old daughter, Alexis, has Polish lessons. And we spent a wonderful summer holiday in August in Sopot. And I took her to our favorite seaside resort, which is near Krynica Morska. It's a little place called Piaski, and it's right on the border with the Kaliningrad Oblast. And it's my intention to bring my daughter as often as possible to Poland, because I want her to appreciate Poland as much as I do, and to love this country as much as I do.
So let me ask a question in Polish, if I may. Co słychać u pana, panie Kawczyński?
No, jak mówię po polsku, to ja sam słyszę, że akcent jest bardzo zły. I ja mówię z akcentem brytyjskim, z angielskim, ale coraz jakoś mnie idzie łatwiej, bo teraz chyba 3-4 razy w roku wracam do Warszawy, bo chcemy stworzyć coraz bliższe kontakty razem z posłami tutaj w Polsce i jakoś sobie poradzę po polsku.
Anyway, your Polish is much better than my English.
Oh
So
no,
congratulations
no,
on
your
that.
English is superb.
I mean, being raised in the UK and then being a member of British Parliament, predestined you to being a spokesman for the Polish cause. And did you willingly embark on this career, or was it like taking over an unwanted, loathed family business?
No, I feel a very deep sense of duty and responsibility to promote Anglo-Polish relations. Look, I mean, when I came back to Warsaw, I came back for the first time in March 1983. And I spent an inordinate amount of time with my Polish grandfather here in Warsaw, listening to his experiences of what happened to him in his lifetime. He was born in 1903. When there wasn't a Poland. He only lived in a free Poland for between 1918 and 1939, a very brief period of 20 years. And then, of course, came the Second World War, and listening to him, describing what happened to him and his family. We are originally from Koło, a place called Koło in Western Poland. Listening what happened to Warsaw in the Second World War, those images, those recollections will stay with me for the rest of my life. And what I feel a responsibility and duty, and then of course, he died in 1986, 3 years before Poland became a free country. So I have a duty and responsibility not just to him, but as a Pole, to do everything I can to make sure that Poland is never put in that position again. 1939 and the run-up to 1939 was one of the most difficult moments in British and Polish history. And of course, Poland suffered tremendously. Our generation now have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that the relationship that Britain and Poland has is a genuine one, and that we stand by our commitments to Poland unreservedly. Unreservedly. And if there was ever an attack on Poland of any kind, I and others in the British Parliament would not tolerate anything but complete support for Poland. And this NATO alliance is really genuine. I have to tell your listeners, if they were to listen to what happens in the House of Commons between us British MPs, they are absolutely rock solid behind Poland. And even though we're pulling out of the European Union, and I'm happy to answer questions on that, we are absolutely shoulder to shoulder with Poland in that defense pact of NATO, which has served us so well.
Okay. People living in the UK sometimes seem to be quite eccentric and bizarre. I've recently met a person claiming he is a Polish prince. You are said, in other words, do you claim to have been an advisor to former British Prime Minister David Cameron?
Well, the prince chap, I can speculate who you're talking about, but I was appointed by the previous prime minister to advise him on the Polish diaspora in the United Kingdom and to advise him on Central and Eastern Europe. I still informally advise the new prime minister on issues to do with Poland. Clearly, as the only person originally from Poland, I think I understand the Polish mentality. and Polish history better than my English colleagues. So yes, I do advise them informally on Poland.
Yeah, he's still sort of advisor to...
Yes, I mean the Polish mentality is different to the British mentality. I find myself being a hybrid. I'm Polish, but I've been transplanted and lived all my life in England. So I have a very different perspective to the Poles, and I have a different perspective to the English. Those people who have moved countries, who are originally from one country but spent all of their lives in another, we do think differently because, of course, our mindset has been so influenced by two very different cultures.
Let me get back to the present day, because you're not only straight from the British Isles, you're straight from the same lower house of Polish Parliament. What did you discuss there?
Well, I discussed something very exciting for me, which is with a small, tiny nucleus of Polish politicians, Mrs. Pawłowicz from Law and Justice Party, and Mr. Rzymkowski from Cookies. We talked about Brexit and why we voted for Brexit, why we felt it was no longer appropriate or suitable for us as a country to be part of this political union. And I wanted to, these are two MPs who are also Eurosceptic, and they want to pull Poland out of the European Union. Now, if you take opinion polls throughout the whole of Poland, they say that Polish citizens are universally in favor of remaining in the European Union. Fine, great, but let's have a debate about what is in Poland's interests. Poland soon is going to become a net contributor to the European Union budget. The European Union already interferes increasingly in Polish domestic affairs, and the Constitutional Court is one such example. Also, they are trying to interfere in the number of refugees that Poland has to take. The main reason that we pulled out, the main reason that my constituents voted to leave, is they were sick and tired of the interference within our own sovereign nation from unelected, in many cases, and unaccountable bureaucrats in Brussels. People want power and responsibility to be brought closer to them, not further away. You can only really get transparency and accountability if you bring the politicians ever closer to the people, not further away. And this is why I wanted to meet these two members of Parliament, and I am now inviting them to the British Parliament to address the Polish diaspora, so that we can start a debate as to whether or not it's in Poland's interests long-term to remain in the European Union. And may I say to you that there always should be two options available to all European countries. Hitherto, we've only had one system, the European Union, which, by the way, is on the track, a fast track towards a political union. They want a single currency, they want a single European army, they want a single foreign policy, they want to create a single political entity. That's not for us. Of course, it is for other countries to decide, and there will be countries like Luxembourg, Belgium, Holland, and others who want to be part of a political union. But Poland should have the choice. Do we join a political union with all those attributes, or do we join an economic union, a free trade association, so that we maintain our sovereignty as an independent sovereign nation, but we trade? And what we're hoping to create with EFTA, Britain is going to join with Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. We're going to create a trading bloc, which is called EFTA. And then, 10, 20, 30 years down the line, Poland can decide, do we want to be part of the European Union, a political entity, or do we want to be part of a trading bloc? That's what I've come to discuss with Polish MPs. And, you may say to me, well, that's completely unrealistic. Poles want to remain in the European Union. They said to us 5 years ago, it would be impossible to pull out of the European Union. 5 years later, Britain has done exactly that.
Okay, so you came to Poland to promote sort of Brexit, Polexit or whatever we call it. And I wonder what the reaction of Polish politicians was.
Well, this was a very small meeting, as I said, with Mrs. Pawłowicz, Mr. Wilk, and Mr. Wilk, and also Mr. Rzymkowski. There were 3 parliamentarians. Very small grouping, but, we are inviting them to come to our parliament to address us. And this is just the start. This is just the start. I'm convinced that Polish citizens will change their minds about the European Union. When you are pouring money into the European Union, as we have done, and by the way, I'm sure your listeners know that we have been sending a cheque to Brussels for £350 million a week is the cost of our membership. When you become a net contributor to the budget, and when countries like Albania, Kosovo, and Turkey join and require more and more financial assistance, when Poland becomes a major net contributor, when the level of interference in Polish domestic affairs increases to extend beyond the Constitutional Court and immigration, but other things, when you continue to get the sort of insults that Mr. Martin Schulz and Mr. Verhofstadt make towards Polish politicians and Poland generally, I think the Polish people, I hope and pray the Polish people one day will realize that it's not in their interest. Poles want to trade, and they want defense and security. That's what they want. And I'll tell you something else they want. They want sovereignty. If there's one country in Europe that personifies the will of people to be free and independent, it is this country. They have been through too much over hundreds of years to give up their sovereignty this easily.
Okay, I wish you luck with this idea, but enough politics for now. I would like to round off our encounter with something nice, because there's been only questions, and questions, but I'm afraid there might be some limitations and constraints on what sort of gifts and souvenirs you can accept. But maybe abroad it doesn't work.
Well, it's awfully kind of you.
I
have to declare certain if I received a gift of some substantial financial thing, I'd have to declare it. But let me have a look at what. Oh, that's that's beautiful.
But I'm afraid it will not be able to contain all your money.
That is a beautiful, beautiful wallet. That's awfully kind of you. How kind.
So do you have to declare it and, I don't know...
No, I think this
give it up?
I think, no, I think I can hold on to this. That's awfully kind of you. I'm very grateful to you. And look, I would love to have an opportunity of speaking to you once these Polish politicians have been to our parliament and spoken about Polexit. And maybe I can come again and we can talk further.
Yeah, always very much welcome. Okay, Daniel Kawczyński, the first and only British MP of Polish descent, was our guest today.
Dziękuję bardzo.